The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on playlist, a link is given in the video description. Episode 3. Fred White stood at the door of Harley Company with a proud face. He knew that today is a good opportunity for him to show off his strength in front of Claire's mother, and he must do it well. As long as the mother is dealt with, why worry about the daughter? When the time comes, he will be able to take Claire, a famous beauty in Oris Hill, into his bag, and he's excited thinking about it. So he said loudly, "Uncles and aunts, please rest assured, the boss of this scam company will come over and refund everyone soon." When everyone heard this, they immediately applauded, one by one, all excited and intolerably happy. Only Charlie looked at Fred White with a sneer on his face. This guy took himself too seriously, and he was afraid that he would die later. When Fred White held his chin up and enjoyed the respect of everyone, the door of Harley Insurance Company was suddenly pushed open from the inside. Later, they saw the boss Harley Joe walking out together with a middle-aged man wearing a Thompson suit. Although the middle-aged man is a bit older, he has an amazing aura. It is Orville Hong. Behind Orville Hong, there were several strong men who followed closely. These were all his personal bodyguards, one by one with extraordinary strength. Orville Hong's status is too high, so although many people in Oris Hill treat his name well, they have no chance to see him, so no one, including Fred White, recognizes him. Everyone just recognized Harley Joe, the boss of Harley Insurance. Then the atmosphere in the crowd exploded instantly. "Mom, Fred really called Mr. Joe over. He is really amazing." "Yes, thanks to Sister Elaine this time, we have hope for our money." "Sister Elaine, such a good young man, he is definitely a good candidate to be a son-in-law by 1,000 times." Elaine listened to the flattery of these old sisters, and was uncomfortable. This Fred White really helped her to show off in front of a group of old sisters today. Thinking of this, she smiled even more. Looking at Fred White's eyes, she was indescribably satisfied. At this time, Fred White walked forward triumphantly, with a lofty posture. He did not know Harley Joe, nor did he know Orville Hong, but Harley Joe seemed to respect Orville Hong, so he mistook Orville Hong for his boss. So, he looked at Orville Hong and said proudly, "Are you the boss of Harley Insurance Company?" Orville Hong said with a faint smile, "The boss is not me. I just help the boss. But if you have anything, you can tell me." Fred White suddenly realized, and then smiled disdainfully, "A subordinate is a stupid. You are not worthy of talking to me. Get out of here and let your boss come." Charlie shook his head and looked at Fred White like an idiot. The Thompson suit man in front of him was amazing, and he had his subordinates following him. At first glance, he was the kind of ugly stuff, but Fred White ridiculed him so arrogantly, obviously seeking his own death. Elaine on the side also sneered and agreed, "Fre, don't talk nonsense with this kind of shit, the one next to him is the boss of Harley Insurance." Harley Joe was dumbfounded. This Fred White, and this old woman are so courageous. They even dared to insult Orville Hong as a street dog and told him to go away. He really don't know how to write dead words. In the whole Oris Hill, who would dare to insult Orville Hong so boldly? Even if there were, after being furious, Orville Hong thrown into the river to feed the fish. At the moment when Fred White's voice just fell, a strong subordinate behind Orville Hong immediately took a step forward, grabbed Fred White's hair, and slapped him from left to right. "You dare to scold Orville Hong, are you the god?" After finishing speaking, he grabbed Elaine again, slapped her with a loud slap, and cursed, "Smelly lady, dare to scold Orville Hong, believe it or not, I will tear your mouth open." Boom! When these words came out, both Fred White and Elaine were struck by lightning. What? The man in Thompson's suit in front of them is actually the famous Orville Hong of Oris Hill? And they were insulting him recklessly just now? Thinking of this, the faces of the two of them became extremely pale in an instant, cold sweat broke out on their bodies, and they were scared to death. Fred White reacted the fastest. He thumped and knelt directly in front of Orville Hong. While kowtowing, he cried and pleaded, "Fifth Lord, I was wrong. I apologize to you. I was blind and didn't recognize you. I opened my mouth to scold you. These old men and old ladies have nothing to do with me. Please, please spare my life." After he finished speaking, he knelt down, slapped himself and apologized again. He broke down and cried. He really didn't expect that the backing the boss of this scam company was actually the famous Orville Hong of Oris Hill. Such a big man, let alone him, can't afford to offend even with his whole family behind. He regrets now and wants to die. He just wanted to take this opportunity to offer Claire's mother a courtesy, so that he has the opportunity to contact Claire. Unexpectedly, before he got his wish, he would offend Orville Hong to death. If his father knew about this, he wouldn't have to kill himself? At this scene, the group of grandparents around was shocked. They also expected Fred White to help him get the money back, but who would have thought that in the next second, he would kneel directly on the ground and apologize to the man in Thompson's suit before him. And Elaine, who was quite proud just now, but now she was slapped a few times, embarrassed like a dead dog. Orville Hong snorted coldly and said to the people around him, "Since this guy has such a cheap mouth, you will give him 10,000 slaps in turn. When will you slap him 10,000 times?" Fred White was so frightened hearing the 10,000 slaps in the face, he thought he'd be beaten to death. At this time, Orville Hong's men pointed to Elaine, who was beaten up and spread out, and blurted out, "Fifth Lord, what about this Lady Wilson?" Orville Hong glanced at Elaine in disgust, and said lightly, 10,000 too. Elaine knelt on the ground with a frightened puff, and her whole body trembled violently. She was almost scared to death. She provokes Mr. Orville, so can she still live? At this moment, several of his subordinates stood up, some grabbed Fred White and some grabbed Elaine, and immediately prepared to move their hands. Charlie has been watching this scene coldly in the crowd. When he saw his mother-in-law being beaten, he didn't want to intervene, because his mother-in-law has always been so cheap, it should be a lesson to her. However, if Orville Hong's men slap her 10,000 times, if they don't beat her to death, they will at least maim her. Then how can he explain to his wife? It would be very painful for his wife too. He felt that he had no choice but to manage. Just when a brawny man stretched his arms and was about to draw a mark on Elaine's old face fiercely, Charlie hurried forward and grabbed his wrist. Elaine screamed in fright at this time, closed her eyes and was about to get twitched, but suddenly realized that the fierce slap had fallen. When she opened her eyes, she was shocked. Charlie, her rubbish son-in-law, came out at this time and blocked the other's slap. Her mind was short-circuited at once, but she didn't react. Why is Charlie so daring? Orville Hong didn't expect that someone would dare to stand up for this Lady Wilson at this time, and asked coldly, "Who are you? Do you want to die too?" Charlie smiled lightly, "Mr. Orville, right? Give me a face. You can beat this dog next to me, but my mother-in-law you can't." Orville Hong said with a sullen face, "This Lady Wilson is your mother-in-law? Then what makes you think that you deserve a face?" When he said this, Orville Hong was already angry. He has always been respected by countless people in Oris Hill, but today he has encountered disrespect one after another. First, there was a Fred White yelling in front of him, and a disgusting Lady Wilson chirping beside him. Now a young kid jumped out to point to himself. He really is the great Master Orville. What kind of cats and dogs dare to contradict him at will? Thinking of this, he immediately became furious and shouted to the people around him, "Kill this guy who doesn't love his life." Charlie smiled faintly when he heard the words, and said, "Don't worry, I'll make a call and let the person on the phone tell you." After all, he took out his cell phone and called Isaac Craven, the person in charge of Shangri-La. Once the phone was connected, he respectfully said to the convenience, "Mister, what do you want?" Charlie asked indifferently, "There is a man named Orville Hong in Oris Hill, do you know him?" Isaac Craven hurriedly smiled and said, "Mister, I know that name you mentioned. The outside world says that he is the underground emperor of Oris Hill. In fact, he is just a small gangster." After speaking, Isaac Craven said again, "This grandson knows that I am from the Wade family, and he wants to flatter me. He has begged me several times for a meal. I have never paid attention to him." "Why? Mr. Wade, do you know him?" Charlie said lightly, "Oh, this makes me want to kill him now." Isaac Craven on the other side of the phone immediately exploded, "Doesn't he want to live? How dare he provoke young master? Where are you now? I'll send someone over immediately and get rid of that filth." Charlie said, "Call him, you can tell him." After speaking, he handed the phone to Hong and said, "Come on, you can pick it up." Orville Hong looked suspicious. "What's the situation? It doesn't look like this guy is acting. Does he really have a terrific background? It doesn't look like it. The clothes are very common, and the total amount of money may not be 500. Even the mobile phone used is a few hundred at maximum. What can he do? Can he find someone to support?" He was very disdainful, but Orville Hong still subconsciously took the call and asked tentatively, "Hey, I am Orville Hong, who are you? Want to support this kid?" On the phone, Isaac Craven cursed, "Orville! Are you so tired and crooked? Even you dare to provoke my master? Believe it or not, I will let your family die tonight with 25 people without a place for you to be buried." Orville Hong heard this voice. Isn't this Isaac Craven, who has been sharpening his head all the time and wants to curry favor? He said he provoke his young master? Could it be this kid in front of me? In addition, as soon as he opened his mouth, he said 25 members of his family. Could it be that he had already figured out all his details? He is the spokesperson of the Wade family in Oris Hill. The Wade family's strength is extraordinary, and killing him is no different from killing an ant. When he heard this, he was frightened suddenly. He blurted out and begged for mercy, "Mr. Charlie, don't be angry, Mr. Charlie, I have made a little misunderstanding, I and Mr. You shut up." Isaac Craven cursed, "Our young master's identity is highly confidential. If you talk too much, be careful that I kill your family." Orville Hong trembled all over, shaking more severely than Parkinson's, and hurriedly said, "Mr. Charlie, I am damned, I am damned. I must take care of this matter. A manager Isaac is enough for him to kneel and lick, and the Wade family above Mr. Charlie is the ultimate existence that makes him look beyond sight, and he needs to look up all his life." But now, he didn't know whether he was alive, and directly offended the young master of the Wade family. Thinking of this, Orville Hong focused his gaze on Charlie, his legs softened subconsciously, and he knelt in front of Charlie, and said with trepidation, "Mr. Charlie, I'm sorry, I don't know she is your mother-in-law, I got confused, I apologize to you. Please forgive me." After that, he softened his legs and knelt in front of Charlie. Everyone present was stunned, watching Orville Hong actually kneel down to apologize to Charlie. This rubbish? Even young Mr. White is a dead dog in front of Orville Hong. This young man can make Orville Hong kneel on the ground. How sacred is this? Orville Hong's little brothers are also scared stupid. Master Orville is the underground emperor of Oris Hill. What kind of young man can make him kneel? Charlie didn't want Orville Hong's life either, after all, it was his mother-in-law, not himself. Moreover, speaking to the bottom of his heart, Charlie still felt that watching his mother-in-law getting beaten was so good. So he said to Orville Hong, "I can forgive you this time, but talking about my mother-in-law's money, you must return it with profit." Orville saw it was amnesty. He really didn't expect that Charlie would forgive himself. He squatted his head for the rest of his life and blurted out, "Don't worry, I will do it." Having said that, he immediately shouted to Harley Joe next to him, "Hurry up and handle it. Take care or else I break your leg again." Elaine is already stupid, is this still her own waste son-in-law? Even the famous Orville Hong would kneel down for him? For a moment, Elaine felt that Charlie's image had grown taller in her own eyes, and how he became unpredictable. Fred White, who had suffered several big mouths, was also dumbfounded. Isn't this Charlie a famous waste? Why is the fifth master so afraid of him? At this time, Harley Joe came over with a pale face carrying a black suitcase, and went to Elaine, and said in horror, "Auntie, your principal is 1.3 million, and the dividends promised, 200,000, total it is 1.5 million, here is 2 million, and the remaining 500,000 is our apology, please accept." Elaine is stupid. When did my own useless son-in-law get so much ability? The principal was returned, the promised dividend of 200,000 was returned, and did they give an extra 500,000? 1,300,000, 2 million per second, this made Elaine immediately overjoyed, and she couldn't believe it. Immediately, she asked Harley Joe with a look of surprise, "The 2 million are really for me?" Harley Joe nodded hurriedly and said, "Of course, it's all yours." "Oh, that's great." Elaine was immediately excited. Seeing Elaine got 2,700,000 more principal. The other old men and women were all excited and crazy. They felt that since all her money was refunded, their own money should be refunded even with the profit. So a few people took the lead and asked, "Manager Joe, what about our money?" Manager Joe hurriedly looked at Orville Hong. Although Orville Hong was not willing to vomit the money that he ate in his stomach, but the Charlie family who was offended this time, maybe even his life worth, so he couldn't care about the distress, and blurted out, "Retire all back." For the sake of Mr. Charlie's face, everyone's money is returned with all the profits. The crowd suddenly cheered with excitement. Charlie suddenly said coldly at this time, "Mr. Orville, these people have nothing to do with me. What do you mean by looking at my face? Do you want to play moral kidnapping with me?" Orville Hong was startled, and blurted out, "Mr. Charlie, what do you mean?" Little confused, "I don't understand." Charlie said, "These people's money has nothing to do with me. If you want to refund, you can refund, if you don't want to refund, you won't refund, but if you dare to say that the refund is for the sake of my face, then don't blame me for turning my face now." These old men and old ladies have been taunting with Elaine just now. Why is he helping them get debts now? On the contrary, not only would he not help them demand debts, but he would also give Orville Hong some eye drops to let him figure it out, and refunding the money to these old men and old ladies would offend him. Orville Hong understood immediately, and blurted out, "Mr. Charlie, don't worry, I understand." After that, he said to Harley Joe, "Only refund Mr. Charlie's mother-in-law's money, nothing else." Ah! The old ladies who were still ecstatic just now went crazy one by one, and some even cried and wailed. Some people begged Charlie to show mercy, but Charlie turned a deaf ear. How did a bunch of old and disrespectful things sneer and insult him? Now that they saw him dealing with Orville, they expect him to help? Go to your mother. Seeing these old men and old ladies frying the pan, Orville Hong suddenly shouted, "It's all fking shut up. Who the FCK will say one more thing, if you quarrel with Mr. Charlie, I will kill you." These old men and old ladies suddenly didn't dare to say anything. Orville Hong looked at Fred White, who was stunned, and blurted out, "Mr. Charlie, this prince is your friend." Charlie glanced at Fred White, and Fred White hurriedly begged, "Charlie, Charlie, Charlie, help me. Tell Mr. Orville, we are good friends. Please." Charlie snorted coldly and said to Orville Hong, "I don't know this person, you continue to fulfill your promise, and let him go after you have done enough." Orville Hong immediately understood, and ordered his men, "Give him a hit, his presence fill my heart with anger." Fred White wailed in horror, "Charlie! It's me who has eyes but not thinking. I beg you to help me, I beg you." Charlie looked at him and said coldly, "I have no relatives, no cause, no grievances, no grudges, but you ridiculed me over and over again, asking me to save you again? Wake up, don't dream." Fred White suddenly collapsed and cried, "Charlie, I really know I was wrong, please help me." Seeing that Charlie's expression was not good, Orville Hong immediately shouted at his opponent, "You guys, why don't you do it? Are you looking for death?" Several of his subordinates were taken aback, and hurriedly grabbed Fred White's neck and hair, crackling and twitching. Fred White's mouth was full of blood and a few broken teeth, but he still didn't stop. Every slap was drawn extremely hard. Orville Hong asked Charlie with a smile, "Mr. Charlie, are you satisfied with this treatment?" Charlie nodded, "Okay, that's it, I have to go." Orville Hong hurriedly handed his business card to Charlie respectfully and complimented, "Mr. Charlie, this is my contact information. If you have anything in the future, please tell me, I will definitely be there on call." Charlie gave a hum, and put his business card into his pocket. Then he said to his mother-in-law Elaine, "Mom, it's late, let's go back." Although Elaine was slapped a few times, she earned $700,000 in the end, so she closed her mouth happily at the moment. Charlie was also full of pride when she saw that her son-in-law really gave her a face. Charlie brought the money and took Elaine to leave. The old men and old ladies gathered in front of Charlie, and said with intent, "Oh, Charlie, it was the aunt who just messed it. We didn't expect you to be like this. Amazing, really young and promising. Yeah, Charlie, you are a talented person, and you look like a dragon and a phoenix among people. My son-in-law is far behind you. See if you can help us and tell the manager, give us back the money, it's all our hard-earned money." Charlie frowned and said coldly, "Why should I help you? Don't you all have eyes above your top? If you don't get the money back, you can ask your own son-in-law for help. After all, just take a step." Everyone was very regretful when they heard this. They blame themselves, there is now no way, now the opportunity to recover hard-earned money is completely gone. Thinking of this, some of them slapped themselves 2 slaps on the spot, and someone sat on the ground in despair, crying for father and mother, "This is my coffin. It's all over if it's gone." However, they didn't have any choice. To blame, they blame their own mouths, and they don't have a good son-in-law like Charlie. On the way home, Elaine asked Charlie with a flattering and full smile, "Charlie, how do you know the 5th Master Hong? Why was he so polite to you?" Charlie said, "Haha, how can I know someone like him? I just made a call to a classmate and he has the ability to let Harley refund the money." When Elaine heard this, she felt disappointed. She thought that Charlie had something she didn't know, but he still asked for help. As a result, the eagerness in her heart was wiped out a lot in an instant. But fortunately, she had to get the money back and made an extra $700,000, which made her a little bit better about Charlie. She opened her mouth and said to Charlie, "Charlie, today, you have to keep a secret for your mother. Don't tell anyone that even though your mother is old, she has to have a face." Charlie smiled helplessly, and had no choice but to agree, and said, "I know, Mom." After taking care of the mother-in-law's troubles, the mother-in-law took the cash and happily went to the bank to make a deposit. Charlie went home directly. Upon entering the house, seeing his wife Claire's shoes had been changed at the door, he knew that she had returned, so he went straight to the bedroom. As soon as he entered the bedroom, he saw his wife Claire just hanging up the phone, with surprise and excitement on her face. He curiously asked, "Wife, who did you call just now?" Claire said excitedly, "It's my good girlfriend Elsa Dong. Do you remember her?" "Remember?" Charlie nodded, and said, "I used to be studying in Oris Hill and I was close to her." She is like the daughter of the Eastcliff family, right? Yes. Claire said, Elsa's family is pretty good in Eastcliff. Charlie smiled and asked, what? She is coming to Oris Hill to see you. Claire said, it's not just to see me, she is coming to work in Oris Hill. Charlie asked suspiciously, she is a daughter of the Eastcliff family. If she doesn't manage her own business, what kind of work can make her come to Oris Hill? Claire said, I don't know much. She said she was going to work at the Emgrand Group, but as for why she came to Emgrand so far, I don't know. Charlie nodded but secretly thought, although the Dong family is far behind the Wade family, in Eastcliff there is also some strength. Elsa has no need to give up her family's business and work in the Imperial Group. Is there any special purpose for this woman to come to the Emgrand Group? Charlie was puzzled, but he couldn't be sure for a while. It seemed that after Elsa joined the Emgrand Group, Doris Young could feel her bottom. At this moment, Claire seemed to have thought of something, patted her forehead, and said, by the way, Charlie, I will have a meeting with someone from the Emgrand Group tomorrow. I can't get away. Can you pick me up at the airport? Elsa, arrange a place for her to catch the wind by the way. Charlie promised, then I will make arrangements in advance tomorrow. Claire said again, by the way, find a better place, don't be afraid to spend money, take my bank card. With that, she passed the wallet to him. Charlie hurriedly said, no, I have an acquaintance who has opened a restaurant that seems to be pretty good, so I can arrange it. After all, Charlie took out his cell phone directly, wanting to send a text message to Isaac Craven in Shangri-La, asking him to arrange a banquet. But he thought about it carefully. Shangri-La was a surprise for his wife. To entertain Elsa, it would be better to change to another place. So he sent a text message to that Orville Hong. I want to host a banquet to entertain my friends, you help me arrange a high-end hotel, but not in Shangri-La. Soon, Orville Hong replied a text message, don't worry, Mr. Charlie, I have a mansion under my name. It is a top restaurant in Oris Hill and Shangri-La. I will help you arrange the best diamond box and the best service for your banquet. Charlie only replied one word, okay. The next day, Claire spent the entire day in the Emgrand Group, busy dealing with matters related to cooperation. Charlie called Doris Young, the vice chairman of Emgrand Group, and asked her about Elsa's appointment. Doris Young was surprised that Charlie knew about this. She said that Elsa was applying for an administrative director, a middle-level management position. Seeing that her resume was not bad, the group decided to admit her, and she had already been appointed for a few days. So Charlie urged her to observe this woman more after Elsa took the job, and always report to him if there was anything unusual. After arranging for Doris Young, Charlie went out to take a taxi in the afternoon and went to the airport, ready to pick up Claire's best friend Elsa. After arriving at the airport by taxi, Charlie was about to go to the arrival hall. A Mercedes suddenly braked and stopped in front of him. Claire's cousin, Harold, suddenly got his head out of the car window, looked at Charlie with a strange frown, and asked, Charlie, why are you here? I'm here to pick up a girlfriend of Claire, why are you here? Charlie frowned and found that the people sitting on this big G were all acquaintances. Besides Harold, there were Gerald and Wendy. Harold said contemptuously, You're talking about Miss Dong, right? Miss Dong has us to entertain her, so you are no longer needed, get out. Charlie snorted coldly, and said, if you want to get out by yourself. After all, Charlie stopped responding to them and walked directly into the arrival hall. Harold was about to swear, and Wendy next to him hurriedly reminded, brother, Miss Dong is coming soon. Grandma reminded you that you must leave a good impression on Miss Dong. If you can turn her into a sister-in-law, you are here. Our family's status is no one can match, so don't interfere with this waste. Harold suddenly woke up. Almost forgot the main purpose of coming here today. In fact, it is the second best thing to catch Elsa. It is the most important thing to leave a good impression on her and get her hand in his hand. The Dong family's strength in East Cliff is extraordinary. If they can come with her, then they will be on the same stage, and the Wilson family can also ascend to the sky is worth. So, he endured his dissatisfaction with Charlie, and they hurriedly got off and rushed to the arrival hall. At this time, they saw a particularly conspicuous, young, and beautiful woman in the crowd. She wears long chestnut hair and a white skirt, which outlines an exquisite figure. Although she is wearing sunglasses, her skin is as white as porcelain, her lips are full of flames, and the beauty of an allure cannot be concealed. Looking closely at her, her appearance is by no means worse than Claire, and the two can be said to have their own merits. For a moment, the sight of the crowd picking up passage focused on her. Harold was already dumbfounded. Even Gerald, who was watching the excitement next to him, was shocked and couldn't help but sigh. As expected of East Cliff's ladies, the temperament is really different. At this time, Elsa also saw the crowd, and hurriedly walked over from the crowd, waved to them, and said, Gerald, Wendy, and Charlie, long time no see. Harold's heart surged with enthusiasm, and he said first, long time no see, Elsa, you have become more beautiful. Charlie smiled, and said, long time no see. Harold hurriedly said at this moment, Elsa, knowing that you are coming, I specially booked a box at the best hotel in Oris Hill, waiting to pick you up, let's go there now. Elsa glanced at Charlie and said sorry to Harold, Harold, I'm really sorry. I have already made an appointment with Claire and Charlie in advance. Let's make an appointment another day. Anyway, I will stay in Oris Hill for a long time. There will be opportunities in the future. When Harold heard these words, his heart couldn't help but become angry. On such an important day, Charlie, the smelly wire, came to mess with him. It was really horrible. So, he deliberately said, Elsa, to welcome you, I ordered the most famous mansion in Oris Hill, and it is a gold box with a minimum consumption of 300,000. As he said that, he looked at Charlie contemptuously, and said with a grin, I don't know where my live-in brother-in-law ordered the banquet. If the grade is too low, wouldn't that be equal to neglecting you? Charlie was also a little surprised when he heard that Harold's choice turned out to be Classic Mansion. What a coincidence, didn't Hongwu say that he opened Classic Mansion? It seems that he also prepared a banquet in Classic Mansion, right? At this time, Gerald on the side was surprised and said, Harold, you can actually book the golden box of Classic Mansion? This is not something ordinary people can book. Harold smiled triumphantly, to be honest, apart from the top diamond box in Classic Mansion, I really can't book it, the others are really nothing. Having said that, this is just Harold's bragging. In fact, in order to book this golden box, Mrs. Wilson personally came forward and paid a lot of money, entrusting several talents to successfully book it. Elsa had heard of the name of Classic Mansion in Eastcliff, and hurriedly said, "Everyone is a friend, there is no need to be so extravagant." Harold said flatly, "You are a distinguished guest, how can you be treated like ordinary friends?" After that, he asked Charlie again, "Brother-in-law, I don't know where you ordered the banquet." Charlie said faintly, "It's a coincidence, I also ordered Classic Mansion." Ha ha ha. Harold laughed presumptuously, "Charlie, you are not afraid of bragging, you're one of a kind. You can't even book the bronze box in Classic Mansion, so you dare to play here." Charlie smiled indifferently, and said, "If I blow or not, what does it have to do with you? I'm not inviting you to dinner. What are you doing with so much leisure?" Harold said coldly, "Cut, I see you like this, you can't even enter the door of Classic Mansion." Elsa on the side couldn't bear to see Charlie being targeted. She knew that Charlie was a live-in son-in-law, and had no money and status in the Wilson family. It was really unrealistic to say that she could live in a top hotel, paid by him. It is estimated that Charlie said this deliberately because he wanted to face. So she didn't want Charlie to be too embarrassed, so she opened up and said to him, "Oh, there is no need to argue about this. Since everyone ordered the same place, then just go together." Harold sarcastically said to Charlie, "Well, for Elsa's face, let me grab you a meal today, and let you see what high-end hotels look like." Charlie snorted and ignored him. Orville would kneel when he sees him. What was the hotel he opened in his own eyes? It's a pity that Harold's cook is nothing more than a blind eye. Classic Mansion is a quaint Chinese-style hotel. The decoration and style are full of traditional classical charm, extremely luxurious. Even the signboard at the door is made of high-quality yellow rosewood. Charlie looked at the decorations in Classic Mansion and was a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Orville's restaurant is really pretty good, and he can bring his wife over to have a taste of food in the future. Elsa looked around and exclaimed, "I heard the name of Classic Mansion when I was in Eastcliff, and it really deserves its reputation." Harold smiled and said, "If you come here, Elsa, of course, you have to use the best hotel too." After finishing speaking, he glanced at Charlie and sneered, "It's not like some people. If it weren't for your light, they would never have the chance to come to such a high-end restaurant in their entire life." Wendy asked deliberately at this time, "Charlie, didn't you also book a box in Classic Mansion? Which one is it? Take us to open our eyes." Charlie said lightly, "I can't remember which one is specific. I just sent a text message to their boss and asked him to help arrange it, and wait for me to look at the text message record." Harold sarcastically said, "Do you know who the boss here is? Just save your big talk here. The boss here is the famous Mr. Orville. You dare to say such big things? Beware that Orville hears it will you with fingers." At this time, Charlie turned on the phone and checked the text message Orville sent to him last night and said lightly, "He said that he left me the diamond box." When Harold heard Charlie's words, he immediately laughed, "Ha ha ha, diamond box. Charlie, you are afraid to laugh at me. Do you know who can go to the diamond box? Prince of Oris Hill is eligible to enter the diamond box, no more than 10 people. Yura Sh.T. Elsa has not spoken, but she can't help but think to herself that this Charlie also loves Face too much, so how could he get the diamond box in his capacity? She used to think that this person had no money and power and was a little bit useless, but she did not expect him to be such a person who admires vanity. What a disappointment! Charlie laughed and didn't say anything. In his opinion, these people who ridiculed themselves were with low mental retardation, but he didn't bother to be familiar with them. Gerald also sarcastically said, Charlie, even my father is not qualified to eat in the diamond box, you dare to brag. Wendy echoed, Brother Gerald, let alone eating in the diamond box, this kind of person is not eligible to eat leftovers in the diamond box. Charlie looked at Gerald and couldn't help but sneer. You stupid bird, Mr. Orville just beat your brother yesterday, do you still dare to come to his restaurant for dinner? So he deliberately asked, Brother Gerald, I heard that something happened to your brother yesterday. Gerald frowned, how do you know? After that, Gerald said again, my brother was assaulted yesterday, and he is still unconscious. We are investigating who injured him and stripped him at that time. Do you have any clue? Charlie shook his head and deliberately pretended to be stupid, I don't know. I just heard that something happened to him. I don't know what happened. Humph. Gerald said contemptuously, you rubbish, don't talk about my white family with that mouth. Next time, be careful that I'll not polite to you. Charlie smiled and ignored him. Sure enough, it is a family of idiots. Don't even know that his brother was knocked unconscious by Orville? It's really interesting. At this moment, a man in black rushed straight to the crowd and met him. Seeing him a little familiar, Charlie remembered that he was one of Orville's bodyguards. When the man saw Charlie, he recognized him, his face was full of enthusiasm and kindness, and he almost immediately bowed to him. Charlie shook his head hurriedly towards him. The black-clothed man hurriedly stopped, thinking that Mr. Charlie does not like being too high profile, so he directly said, Guests, please come with me, the box has been prepared for a long time. Harold was taken aback when he heard the words. When did the Golden Box service of Classic Pavilion be so attentive? Someone came to greet him personally before he reported his name. What a face! Gerald on the side, Harold, your reputation is really big enough. I think he seems to be a person next to Mr. Orville. It seems that Mr. Orville attaches great importance to you. Did you know Mr. Orville? Didn't you hear it? Yes, you are really Loki. Harold laughed and said with a smug face, there is no need to show off this kind of thing. It's better to keep a low profile. Ha 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 ha. Elsa was a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Harold really had some connections in Oris Hill, compared to Charlie, that was so much stronger. It seems that in the future if she walks into Oris Hill with him, it will be much more convenient for her daily activities. The black man respectfully led everyone to the door of the diamond box. Afterward, he took out the list, handed it to Charlie directly, and said softly, Sir, please sign it. This diamond box was specially reserved for Charlie, and he needed to sign for confirmation. Charlie smiled and took the pen and paper, and was about to write his name when Harold's voice suddenly rang. "Put the pen down." Harold walked over with a calm face, grabbed the pen and paper from Charlie's hand, brushed his name down, and yelled at Charlie, "You want to be shameless? Who ordered the box? Do you even count? What qualifications do you have to sign here?" The black-clothed man was immediately dumbfounded, looked at Charlie, and gave him a questioning look, which means, "Do you need me to help you teach this bastard now?" Charlie said indifferently, "It's okay. If he wants to sign, let him sign." In front of Elsa, Charlie didn't want to make things too embarrassing. After all, she was his wife's best friend. Soon, everyone in the box sat down. Harold arranged for Elsa to sit in the lead, while Charlie sat in the corner alone. Only Elsa said a few words to him from time to time. Soon, exquisite dishes and wine were presented by the waiter. All the dishes are very particular about the ingredients. The top quality abalone and 10 catties of Australian lobster can only be used as a foil here. Even fine wine is a century-old national wine, and a bottle of half a catty alone can sell for more than 100,000. Elsa is also a well-informed person and was shocked by the extravagance of this meal. Gerald sighed, "Harold, how much is the standard for your meal?" Harold said triumphantly, "My meal is 300,000. Gerald said in surprise, "This is not the standard of 300,000. The bottles of wine alone are more than 300,000. Harold was secretly frightened, and suddenly felt something was not right. Reminiscing about the attitude of the man in black just now, could it be that Orville gave him any special treatment? However, he doesn't even know him. Elsa's beautiful eyes flickered. She glanced at Harold and said, "Harold, thank you." When Harold heard Elsa's words, he smiled and said, "This should be done everywhere." With that, Harold smiled and asked Charlie, "Charlie, you must have never eaten such a good thing in your life." Charlie sneered, "What gives you the confidence?" Harold said contemptuously, "After eating my food, that broken mouth is so hard. You had a chance to eat such a good thing before, I twist your head off and kick it for you." Charlie smiled indifferently. The days he lived when he was a child were extremely luxurious that ordinary people could not think of. Such a meal at Wade's family is also a meal for the people. Seeing Charlie's silence, Wendy said angrily, "Charlie, what kind of attitude do you use to talk to my brother? Believe it or not, I will let you get out now. We let you eat the meal and you will act shamelessly. What a stinky rag!" However, at this moment, the door of the box was kicked open vigorously, and a fierce voice rang, "Where did you idiots come from? Who let you in this box?" As soon as he finished speaking, a man wearing an Armani suit, a big gold chain, and a centipede-like scar on his face spread from the corner of his eyes to his chin. This man holds a bill in one hand and a stick in the other, with a fierce face. A dozen burly men with scarred tattoos lined up next to them, surrounding everyone. Everyone was stunned, panicked. What is the situation? The leader is named Brother Biao, who is Orville's right-hand man. He beat the world with him in his early years, and he is also a famous person in Oris Hill. This time Orville told him that it was the extremely noble Mr. Charlie to use the diamond box of Classic Pavilion, so he must arrange it properly. But he never thought that when inspecting the use of the box, it was discovered that the diamond box was signed by Harold, who was angry and afraid. Raging with anger, Harold occupied the box he prepared for the distinguished guests. "I'm afraid that there is only one table for the top banquet in the diamond box, and the real guests will be coming. What should I do?" At this moment, Harold stood up and said, "What are you doing? I reserved this box. Why did you break in and make trouble?" Brother Biao pointed at Harold and asked him, "Are you, Harold?" Harold nodded and said proudly, "I am." Brother Biao said coldly, "Bring him to me." Upon hearing this, the two sturdy big men directly pulled Harold up and dragged him over. "What are you doing? Let go of me." "Drafting, what are you talking nonsense?" A sturdy man directly kicked his knee, and Harold knelt directly in front of Brother Biao. Brother Biao's cold eyes looked back and forth on Harold, making people chill like a blade. Snapped. The signature slip was thrown directly on Harold's head. Brother Biao scolded, "Who gave you the authority to use this box?" Harold pretended to be calm and said, "There must be a misunderstanding. I ordered this golden box in advance, and I have paid the 300,000 deposit." Gerald also interjected, "What are you doing? This box is set by Harold. Do you have any rules?" Brother Biao took a spit and slapped Harold and said, "Golden box? This is a diamond box for distinguished guests. You can also use this rubbish." As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Diamond box? No wonder this box is extremely luxurious, and the dishes and wines are among the top ones. It turns out that it is not a golden box at all. Gerald broke into a cold sweat, and the diamond box was so honorable that he was not qualified to enter on his own with others, let alone use it. Wendy quickly said, "Brother, you don't know Mr. Orville, please explain to them quickly." Harold screamed and hurriedly said, "Shut up, what nonsense, how can I know Orville in my capacity?" Wendy said, "But didn't you just say Elsa saw the performance of the two brothers with her eyes, but she didn't even know what Harold said just now was bragging." She was a little disappointed suddenly. Brother Biao sneered at this time and said, "You dare to talk about the banner of Mr. Orville, you guys are so filthy and crooked." As Biao said, he stood up and told the boys, "Hold down this kid's hand. I will teach him a lesson." Harold was immediately held down, unable to move. Next second, Brother Biao held the stick and smashed it down without hesitation. "Ah, my hand is useless." Harold screamed frantically, sweating all over his body, and anger came from his crotch, and he passed out in a shameful manner. Seeing this scene, Gerald and Wendy both turned pale and frightened. Harold, who was still in full swing just now, was beaten back to his prototype in an instant. Who can't be afraid? Elsa was also scared enough, her whole body was shaking, hiding behind Charlie, and said in horror, "What can we do about this? Are they allowed to kill people?" Charlie patted Elsa on the shoulder and comforted, "Don't be afraid, no one will touch you if I am here." Elsa glanced at Charlie gratefully. Although she knew that Charlie could not solve such troubles, she still felt a little relieved by his words. Here, Brother Biao kicked Harold, like pigs are beaten to death, and cursed, "What a fool! Brother Biao turned his head and looked at Gerald again. And you, just now you said I had no rules, right? Come on, you. Gerald was so frightened that he shivered and said, Brother Biao, I belong to the White family. White family? Brother Biao grinned and said, what is the White family? Brother Biao spat out disdainfully, kicked Gerald to the ground, and said coldly, the Master Orville just taught a White family stupid yesterday and was given 10,000 slaps in the face. You dare to follow him? Mention the king's name in his house? Hey! Gerald was frightened suddenly. He thought that his brother was robbed by a gangster, but he did not expect that it was actually Orville who beat him. Just as he was splitting his guts, Brother Biao directly raised the stick and slammed it down against his head. Boom! Gerald only felt the world spin, his head buzzed, his mouth and nose were bleeding, and his consciousness was instantly blurred. Wendy screamed loudly in horror instantly. Gerald is her fiancé and her only chance to marry into the White family. If something happens, her life will be over. Ambulance! Call an ambulance! Wendy yelled in a panic, and tremblingly took out the phone, but was too scared to press any more. She could only keep screaming. Brother Biao frowned and said cursingly, you little filth, you dare to call. Gouge her mouth, let me see how she speaks. Yes, Brother Biao. When the boys heard this, they all showed cruel smiles. What they like most is to destroy the flowers with their hands, especially Wendy's savage flowers. Wendy panicked immediately, madly trying to step back, but there was a wall behind her, and there was nowhere to hide. Come here! A one-eyed man grabbed Wendy's hair viciously and directly pulled her up abruptly. Then, facing Wendy's face, the one-eyed man shook his arms and violently twitched. These little brothers are all ruthless people who have been fighting with Brother Biao for many years. In just 2 or 3 strokes, Wendy's face was as swollen as a pig's head, blood mixed with saliva and flowed down. A woman being beaten like this will leave indelible marks on her face even if treated in time, which is almost equivalent to disfigurement. Seeing that Brother Biao was so cruel, Elsa shivered again, leaning on Charlie's back, and the two of them were almost close to each other. At this time, Brother Biao saw Charlie and Elsa in the corner, and gave an order, and the two of them, beat them to death. Dare to occupy the diamond box that I prepared for the distinguished guests. They are equally guilty. That little brother had never felt pity for delicate bodies, so he reached out and grabbed Elsa. I see who dares to move her. Charlie's eyes became extremely cold, and he kicked the brawny man to the ground. Seeing this, Brother Biao's face sank, and he directly scolded, "Who are you?" Charlie said lightly, "I am someone you can't afford to offend." "Boy, you are looking for death." Charlie shook his head and dialed Orville directly. "Mr. Orville, I'm in the diamond box right now, come down and meet me immediately." After speaking, Charlie hung up the phone and looked at Brother Biao coldly. Elsa's face was pale. Harold just boasted to know Mr. Orville, and the result was so miserable. Charlie dared to say such disrespectful words in front of Brother Biao, and maybe his life too was gone. Wendy, who was drawn into a pig's head on the side, heard Charlie's words. Her eyes were extremely horrified. This grandson is still pretending to be forceful at this time. Is he trying to kill everyone? Brother Biao sneered unceremoniously, if you dare to offend the Master Orville in front of me, I think you are tired of your life or crooked in the head." When the voice fell to the ground, Brother Biao waved his hand to the boys and said viciously, "Kill him for me." Suddenly, Orville shouted from outside the box, "DMN, Biao, you fking want to die, don't you? Even Mr. Charlie dares to move, I chopped you to feed the dog, believe it or not." Brother Biao was shocked as if struck by lightning. "Mr. Orville is here." "Mr. Charlie? Who is Mr. Charlie?" The next second, Orville walked in tremblingly, and kicked Brother Biao directly to the ground. "You're blind, you can't even recognize Mr. Charlie, I'll kill you!" Orville scolded while kicking Brother Biao frantically. Brother Biao, who had just been invincible, now looks like a dog in the water. Elsa was dumbfounded. What is the situation? The kids were also panicking. This young man was actually Mr. Charlie? He actually wanted to do something to him just now, so he was looking for death. Orville cursed at the others. "And what are you guys doing in a daze? Kneel down and apologize to Mr. Charlie." "Mr. Charlie, it's because I have eyes but no pearls that I almost ran into you. I beg you to go around us." The boys knelt down, kowtow apologizing frantically. Brother Biao was also so scared that he knelt on the ground, and while pulling his face, he begged for mercy. "I'm sorry Mr. Charlie, please don't forgive me my transgressions, please spare me this time." Orville also slapped himself. His face nervously said, "Mr. Charlie, it was because I did not do well, and let my subordinates deal with you and your friends." Charlie glanced at Elsa, and said lightly, "I just invited my wife's girlfriend to dinner." After speaking, he looked at the others and said coldly, "They are not my friends." Elsa was completely shocked. It turned out that Charlie was not bragging at all. He did book a box in Classic Mansion, and it was indeed the top diamond box. More importantly, this box turned out to be reserved for him by Orville himself. Reminiscing that she had looked down on Charlie before, Elsa was blushing instantly, not to mention how ashamed she was. At this moment, Harold trembled all over when he heard the words of several people. What happened? Charlie, this rubbish, turned out to be Mr. Orville's friend? Wendy was also frightened. Charlie actually knew Mr. Orville. The key is that Mr. Orville was so kind to him. Look at her fiancé Gerald again, he is already in a coma with blood. While wiping the cold sweat on his forehead, Mr. Orville promised, "Mr. Charlie, don't worry, there will never be another thing like this. From now on, you will come to Classic Mansion and have a meal in the diamond box at any time. Come, I picked his eyeballs later, ... Charlie gave a hum, turned his head and said to Elsa, "Elsa, I have eaten the meal too, it's so messy here, let's go." Elsa was awakened by Charlie, and subconsciously asked, "What about the others?" Seeing the miserable appearances of Harold, Gerald, and Wendy, she was somewhat worried. Charlie said lightly, "Let Mr. Orville solve it." Orville immediately said, "Mr. Charlie, don't worry, I will arrange an ambulance to send them to the hospital for treatment." "Yet." Charlie nodded and said, "If this is the case, then the two of us will leave first." Elsa was a little dazed and followed Charlie out of Classic Mansion in a daze. Coming out of Classic Mansion, Elsa couldn't calm down for a long time. Looking at Charlie, who looked like an okay person, she only felt as if he was covered with a layer of fog, mysterious and profound. "Charlie, what happened today?" Before Elsa finished speaking, Charlie interrupted her and said indifferently, "Elsa, please keep the matter a secret for me today. If Claire knows, she will be angry with underground people like Orville." Elsa had to nod her head. "Okay, I see." After Charlie and Elsa left, Orville asked to arrange an ambulance and took all the people to the hospital. Wendy's face was deformed by the jawbone, which was tantamount to disfigurement. And one of Harold's hands was almost abolished. At least it will take a long time to recover. As for Gerald, he was hit by a severe concussion. Although the person has been rescued from life danger, the sequel will be enough for him to suffer for a lifetime. Elsa and Doris Young of Emgrand Group's appointment date will be tomorrow. Leaving Classic Mansion, Charlie drove her to the hotel where she was staying and then left. Elsa was continuously shocked by the evening meal while thinking about her future development. This time she came to Oris Hill. On the surface, she came to work at the Emgrand Group, but in fact, she was still carrying a family responsibility. Dad told her that there was top-secret news that Wade's, the top East Cliff family, had found their young master who had been missing for many years and also bought the Emgrand Group to give this young master to practice hands. In other words, the Wade family master is in Oris Hill, and he is the chairman of the Emgrand Group. Although the Dong family is a very good family in East Cliff, they can only reach a second-rate level, which is 1,000 miles away from the Wade family. Therefore, the Dong family hopes that Elsa can take advantage of Wade family's young master's identity to find opportunities to contact him in advance. If she can get together with him and promote the marriage of the two, that would be great. Although Elsa was a bit repulsive of such things, she didn't dare to neglect to think that the important task of family revitalization was on her shoulders. She traveled all the way to Oris Hill, preparing to work for the Emgrand Group, just to find the opportunity to contact the mysterious chairman of the Emgrand Group, and then find a way to attract his attention. Elsa is definitely a very top super beauty in the upper class in East Cliff. She believes that with her appearance, knowledge, ability, and perfect body, she should be able to attract the attention of the Wade family's heir apparent. If she can really marry him, then the Dong family will usher in absolute revitalization. Become a first-class family in Yanqing. As soon as she thought of this, she was full of expectations for tomorrow's entry. At the same time, she was also full of expectations for the mysterious Wade family's man. She couldn't help but wonder, how old is this Wade family young master? And what is his appearance? Is he personable, tall, and handsome? She couldn't help taking out her phone and opening the video app. She clicked on the video with tens of millions of clicks in her favorites. This video is where Charlie used Cash to face the sales director at Rare Earth. She had analyzed this video a long time ago and knew that this video took place in Oris Hill, which happened to coincide with the time in the news that Charlie was found. Therefore, she speculated that the god-level rich man in the video should be the youngest of the Wade family, the chairman of the Emgrand Group. She stared carefully at the back of the god-level rich man in the picture, carefully watching and pondering. From this vague video, you can probably see that the famous god-level rich man on the internet is estimated to be in his 20s, tall and thin, but she can't see his face. However, his figure is still very good, not much worse than those Korean long-legged models. With such a figure, she believes the face will not be difficult to see. However, Elsa suddenly felt a strange feeling in her heart. How could this person feel a bit like Charlie? But after thinking about it, she thought it's impossible. Charlie is the son-in-law of the Wilson family. What is the strength of the Wilson family? Even the Wade family's hair can't be compared. If Charlie is really the youngest of the Wade family, how could he live in the henhouse of the Wilson family? It seems that she must be thinking too much. The next day, Elsa reached the emigrant group early in the morning. Vice Chairman Doris Young personally handled her entry. Doris Young took her to the administrative department and introduced her to her job functions, and then said, "Elsa, if you don't understand in the future, you can directly ask me or come to my office to find me." Elsa nodded gratefully, and asked tentatively, "Deputy Doris, I don't know if I have a chance to meet the chairman? After all, I will be responsible for the company's administrative affairs in the future. If I don't know the chairman, I'm afraid I won't be careful to neglect him." Doris suddenly became alert. Charlie had asked her the day before yesterday to pay more attention to this Elsa, and Elsa asked about the chairman as soon as she came. It seemed a bit difficult to ignore. She doesn't know what the purpose of this beautiful girl is, who has traveled all the way to the emigrant group. She said to Elsa, "Our chairman rarely comes to the company, but if he comes, I will tell him. If he wants to see you, I will notify you." Elsa was a little disappointed in her heart, but she nodded with a smile and said, "Thank you, Miss Doris." When Doris Young returned to her office, she reported the incident to Charlie. As soon as Charlie heard that Elsa had just reported to the company, she wanted to meet with him. He became more vigilant. This woman really came for him. What is her purpose? Want to get close to me? Does she want to harm me or seduce me? No matter what purpose she was with, Charlie felt a little disgusted. So he decided to contact Elsa as little as possible, let alone let her know his true identity. On the night of Elsa's entry, Charlie's wife, Claire, specially reserved a seat in a high-end hotel and was going to treat her to a meal. As Claire's husband, Charlie naturally wanted to be with him. This made Charlie a little depressed. Just about to keep a distance from Elsa, he will have to eat with her again at night. But depressed, he was still ready to go to the hotel with Claire anyway. However, when he arrived at the hotel, Charlie realized that Claire's decision turned out to be the Hanging Garden of the Shangri-La Hotel. The Hanging Garden ballroom is mainly used to receive high-end guests, so it never provides any kind of private room service. However, Charlie booked the private room here on the wedding anniversary, which is unprecedented for Shangri-La. Today is only 3 days away from the wedding anniversary. A big and eye-catching notice has been placed at the entrance of Shangri-La Hotel. The Hanging Garden will be reserved for guests in the Sky Garden 3 days later. All guests are not allowed to use it at that time. We apologize for the inconvenience. Everyone who saw this notice was shocked. Someone has reserved the Hanging Garden in Shangri-La? This has never provided charter service. It is said that the children of several big leaders in the city wanted to hold a wedding banquet here, but they were all rejected without exception. Who is it that has the face to cover the entire Hanging Garden from Shangri-La? Claire also saw this eye-catching reminder, and said in surprise, "Oh, the Hanging Garden was actually reserved? This is incredible." Charlie smiled on the side and said, "What's incredible? The banquet hall, isn't it possible for people to book it out?" "You don't understand," Claire said earnestly, "this Shangri-La is not our local enterprise. It is a top hotel chain in the world. Their Sky Garden is a major feature of its own. It only serves high-end guests. In the private space, today the big man will make a package, and the other high-end guests will not be able to use it normally, so they simply will not open the private space to the outside world." With that, Claire couldn't help sighing, "I don't know what background of this person is. It's really amazing to be able to cover this place." Charlie deliberately smiled and said, "Perhaps someone who loves his wife may want to hold a wedding for his wife." Claire was surprised and said, "Here is the wedding for his wife? Then she should be a wife who loves him very much, and his wife is really so lucky." Charlie was very happy to hear his wife say so. It seems that the place he chose will surely satisfy his wife on the day of the wedding anniversary. The two came to the Sky Garden and sat down in the reserved seats, and Elsa arrived soon. "Claire. Elsa." The two girlfriends hugged each other, happily. Afterward, the two held hands and talked about the past for a long time, and then they gradually calmed down. Elsa said, "Claire, you are too wasteful, you chose to eat in the Sky Garden." Claire smiled and said, "When you are here, then I must bleed money, I don't care." Elsa chuckled, "It's really my good girlfriend." Claire said, "It's true that I'm not even qualified to order food here. I asked Emgrand Group Vice Chairman Doris Young to help me decide this seat, using her membership card." Elsa sighed, "The Sky Garden seems to be very demanding. It must be a diamond member or something." "Yet." Claire nodded and said, "To be honest, this is my first time coming here." Elsa smiled and said, "Thank you so much, my kind queen." After speaking, she said again, "By the way, when I came up just now, I saw a notice outside saying that the Sky Garden was booked for 3 days later." "Yes," Claire said, "it's strange that Hanging Garden never accepted charter rooms before, and I don't know what happened this time." Elsa nodded and said in passing, "Some time ago, there was an Oris Hill god-level rich man. He bought a necklace and brought dozens of Rolls-Royces, dozens of men in black, and more than 10 million in cash. Did you watch that video?" Charlie shook his head, and Claire said, "I saw it, the pomp was quite big." Elsa said, "Everyone is guessing who he is." Claire said, "What is there to guess?" Elsa smiled and said, "Gossip. Everyone wants to know who is so domineering. Some people say it should be the new chairman of Emgrand Group." Charlie's expression on the side was startled for an instant, but it returned to normal soon. Elsa went on to say, "Shangri-La's Hanging Garden was wrapped up again today. I feel that the Hanging Garden package is the same person who bought the jade in the video." Claire sighed helplessly, "It's been so long since I saw you, you are still so gossipy." Elsa smiled and said, "Gossip is the driving force for women to survive." After that, Elsa said again, "I'm going to come here in 3 days to have a look, who on earth has such a great face and can reserve the Sky Garden." When Charlie on the side heard this, his head suddenly became heavy. He just wanted to surprise his wife and give her a wedding that hadn't been honored that year. But he didn't want to be noticed by everyone at once. However, he seemed to underestimate the influence of the Hanging Garden. It is estimated that many people in Oris Hill now have the same ideas as Elsa. They all want to see who has reserved the Sky Garden. This is a bit tricky. I have to say hello to Isaac in advance and be fully prepared in advance. In any case, I can't reveal my identity. During the meal, Elsa said to the two of them, "This time I came to Oris Hill, I also had an appointment with our former classmates." Everyone said that they would take this opportunity to have a classmate gathering. "What do you two think?" Charlie said immediately, "If you have a classmate gathering, I won't participate." "Why?" Elsa said, "Although we are not four-year college classmates, we still had a classmate relationship for 1 year. When Charlie was taken in by the old master of the Wilson family, he sent him to Oris Hill University in order to let him know Claire in advance, and he went to the same class as Claire for a year of senior year. After graduating from senior year, the two got married immediately. However, Charlie had only been classmates with those people for a year, and most of them had always looked down on him, and they had no friends, so he was not interested at all to hear about class reunions. Claire didn't want to attend the class reunion either, so she said, "I will not go with Charlie. After graduation, I have no contact with most of my classmates." Elsa hurriedly said, "The main reason for the class reunion this time is that Darren in the class opened a restaurant, which will open tomorrow. He openly asked everyone to chill at his restaurant and have a meal together." After that, Elsa said again, "You think it's a good business for someone else to go there, isn't it inappropriate?" As soon as the voice fell, the phones of all three of them beeped due to WeChat notification. Immediately afterward, a lot of WeChat notifications popped up. Everyone took out their mobile phones and looked at it. It turned out that Darren pulled a group of classmates, and this group soon reached more than 30 people. Darren said in the group, "Dear old classmates, the small hotel I invested in will officially open at noon tomorrow. The hotel is in Oris Hill. Please come and enjoy the experience with Oris Hill classmates. It will be a class gathering." It just so happens that Elsa, one of the 2 golden flowers in our class, will also come to work in Oris Hill. She will also attend the party this time. It is said that Elsa is still single and the bachelors in the group can hurry up. Immediately afterward, a large group of people responded. "Wow! Congratulations! Oh, Elsa has come to Oris Hill? Why haven't we heard of it? She will be there by then. Where is Claire, another golden flower in our class? Is she coming? I heard that Claire was with Charlie, who came to our class later. I heard that Charlie still lives with the Wilson family. I also heard about it. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't seen them both since I graduated. I heard that they are just a couple's cutscene. They are nominal but not real. I don't know if it is true or not." Claire saw these contents and said to Charlie, "Don't take it to your heart." Charlie smiled slightly, "It's okay, what they said is also the actual situation, I have long been used to it." Elsa hurriedly said in the group, "Don't gossip about others. I am now having dinner with the couple. They are lovely. Oh, it's Elsa." A lot of licking dogs quickly gathered around. At this time, there was someone in the group Charlie, the group leader Darren, "Charlie, although you came to our class for a short time, the relationship between our two brothers was pretty good when we were in school. Tomorrow you and your wife must be there. Charlie's impression of Darren was pretty good. This person was really nice. He was very kind to everyone, and he never ridiculed others. He was one of the few classmates he had a good relationship with. Seeing that he had said so, Charlie immediately replied, "Okay, I will definitely come to join you tomorrow." Darren said immediately, "That's great. We must get together tomorrow." Seeing that Charlie had agreed to the classmate gathering, Claire reminded Charlie, "We have to prepare some gifts for the opening of Darren Hotel. We cannot go empty-handed." Charlie nodded and said, "I'll buy a gift for him tomorrow morning." "Okay." Claire said, "It just so happens that I have to go to the emigrant group tomorrow morning." Elsa asked in surprise, "Are you coming to emigrant tomorrow morning? Then come to me when you are finished with your business. It just so happens that I will drive your car to Darren's restaurant at noon." Claire smiled and said, "Then your wishful thinking is wrong. I don't have a car. I usually take a taxi or take a bus. Sometimes Charlie rides an electric bike to pick me up." "Hey!" Elsa blurted out, "You are a director, you haven't bought a car yet." Claire said, "I haven't worked for a long time, and I haven't made any money. I usually spend money with Charlie and I have to pay for my mother's living expenses. If I get it in 1 month, I can spare thousands. Not enough to buy a car." After that, Claire said again, "Also, to be honest, I think buses are very convenient. If the weather is good, Charlie's electric bike is also good." Elsa said seriously, "Sometimes you have to pay attention to ostentation. After all, you are now the director of the Wilson Group, and you are the partner that directly cooperates with Emgrand. If you don't even have a car, you will be talked about." Charlie also felt that Elsa was right. "My wife has always been too frugal, and most of the money she earned has been handed over to his mother-in-law, so she has always treated herself badly. The mother-in-law is just a brave who just can't eat. She saved more than 1 million to invest in unreliable financial management, not to mention 2 or 3 million to buy a car for her daughter to drive." Thinking of this, he felt that he will have to buy a car for his wife. In this way, it would be convenient for her to go out and do errands in the future, and it would be better for her to talk about business with others. After making up his mind, he decided to go to the Force store early tomorrow morning to have a look. After dinner, the couple and Elsa left and took a taxi home together. On the radio in the taxi, there are discussions about the Shangri-La Hanging Garden being chartered. The hosts were all amazed that this was the first time in history that Shangri-La had made an exception to reserve the Sky Garden. He was also very curious about who could have such a great reputation. The taxi driver also said, "I want to see, this person who packs the Sky Garden must be the God-level rich man on the YouTube short video." Charlie didn't talk, but he was a little surprised in his heart. It seems that after the news that the hanging garden on the top floor of the Shangri-La Hotel was reserved, it really caused a sensation throughout Oris Hill. This night, this matter continued to ferment throughout Oris Hill. Soon the city is full of storms and no one knows it. Everyone knows that the Shangri-La Hotel adopts a membership service, and only senior members have the opportunity to use the Sky Garden. As for the reservation, you don't have to think about it at all. Diamond members are not even eligible. So, who on Earth contracted the Sky Garden has suddenly become a major issue for everyone's curiosity. There are rumors that the person who undertook the Sky Garden is the god-level wealthy who has become popular all over the country on YouTube. Some people say that the person who has contracted the Sky Garden is an overseas rich man. Some people even say that the person who has reserved the Sky Garden was a mysterious man. The reason why he did that was to hold a grand and romantic wedding. Sure enough, the third rumor is more convincing. For a time, there was another wave of rumors in the market. After countless women heard it, they were even more envious and jealous. Everyone speculated about which woman was so happy that allowed people to smash millions in one night, wrap up the entire Sky Garden, and show her love. Many people are looking forward to that day soon, so let's find out. In order to avoid revealing his identity, Charlie specially ordered Isaac to make a special transformation of the entire hanging garden. At the same time, he also looked forward to the arrival of the wedding anniversary in his heart. He wants to give Claire a grand wedding on the day of their anniversary. Early the next morning, Charlie went out early and went to the Force shop. He has a 10 billion bank card in his hand, which he has not used much yet. This time, he was going to buy Claire a luxury car that could be on the table. He himself wanted to buy her a Rolls-Royce in one step. But after thinking about it carefully, he was afraid that such an expensive car would not be easy to explain to her. Moreover, Claire's personality has always been low-key. Even if she had such an expensive car, she would not be willing to drive it out. So he decided to buy a business car for his wife about 500,000 worth, which is worthy of face, not too public, and more practical. She won't be so distressed if it is scratched or bumped. Thinking of this, he planned to buy an Audi A6 for his wife. Nowadays, all business people drive A6. The car has a lot of reputation. Moreover, A6 is an extended business car, which is very suitable for his wife to drive. When he came to the Audi Force shop, he parked his little e-bike at the door and walked in. Several shopping guides inside saw a customer coming, and two people were immediately ready to greet him. A woman behind said hurriedly, "Oh, this man came on an electric bike. It seems that he is here to use the air conditioner or the Wi-Fi. Just leave him alone." When they heard that they came on an electric bike, the others lost interest in an instant. Recently, the weather is hot, and there are always poor ghosts who rush over to rub the air conditioner early. Sometimes they shamelessly sit in the exhibition car and don't get down. In the end, they can only send security guards to rush them out. The sales are very annoying. Charlie rides an electric bike and wears a suit to sell goods. It is really not conspicuous here. He doesn't look like a person who can afford Audi. No one took care of himself, and Charlie didn't care. He went directly to the exhibition area of the A6 sedan and found that the price of this car ranges from 300,000 to more than 600,000. The model of more than 600,000 is the A6 top model and the extended executive version. To be honest, this car looks really good. The price of more than 600,000 is not too expensive. Claire should be able to accept it. So he opened his mouth and said, "Is there a new car for this top A6? I want to buy it now." The shopping guides all looked at him like a fool, and one of them said contemptuously, "Have you seen the price? Is there a small number of zeros?" Charlie frowned and looked at him, 618,000, I saw it. The man sneered and said, You saw it, are you still dreaming? Can you afford it? A bill will come out for you to swipe your card after a while, so many people are watching, you can't take it out, what a shame. Charlie asked coldly, Are you sick? Coming out in the morning without taking medicine? Do you want me to call 120 for an ambulance to take you away? The man hummed and said, Cut, don't be here to seduce me. Believe it or not, I will let the security guard drive you out. A poor guy who has come here to use air conditioning and Wi-Fi, still pretends to be something. Charlie didn't get angry and laughed, and asked him, If you sell this car, how much can you get? The other party said contemptuously, I can raise 10,000. Charlie nodded, Very well, you lost 10,000. After speaking, Charlie turned and went out. He met the manager of this store coming in, and the name of the sales manager, Wibe, was written on the other's badge. So Charlie asked him, Are you the person in charge here? Yes. Wibe nodded, What are your needs? Charlie pointed to the sales just now and said to him, You'd better turn that sale off. As long as he is here, it will only delay the business of your Force store. When the man heard this, he rushed over and said, Manager Wibe, don't listen to his nonsense, this man is sick. He just came to use the air conditioning wire. Charlie smiled and said, If I am Rag, just wait and see. After speaking, he immediately went out and went directly to the BMW showroom next door. As soon as he arrived at the BMW store, Charlie saw one of the most luxurious BMW 760. This is the top accessory of the BMW 7 Series. It is the most expensive model of BMW. The BMW 760 has a 12-cylinder engine, which is extremely powerful, and the interior is a luxurious mess. He is also a little angry, don't these Audi idiots look down on him? Okay, then I will buy a top-fitting BMW for you to see. Anyway, the Lord has money. So he directly greeted a BMW salesperson and asked, This 760, can I just take it away? The other girl was stunned, Brother, this car has just arrived in the showroom today. Are you sure you want to buy it? Yes. Charlie nodded, I'm sure, take me to swipe the card. Ah? This car is 2.6 million. The other party was utterly dumbfounded. She's been selling cars for a long time and has never seen a customer who comes in and asks for a card swipe without saying anything. Isn't this elder brother here to amuse himself? Charlie smiled and said, I know, I see the price, you just say you sell it or not. Sell, of course, the little girl said happily, then please. Immediately afterward, under the leadership of the other party, Charlie swiped his card, paid, and picked up the car in one go. When the 2.6 million BMW 760 came out, the people in the Audi store looked stupid. Charlie drove the BMW 760 directly to the entrance of the Audi store, then opened the trunk and put his electric bike in, and then he drove away in a big way. The shopping guide who looked down on Charlie was stunned. The manager Wibe next to him said with a cold face, Go to the HR and collect your dues, you are fired. Manager role. The employees in other Audi stores were also scared silly, no one would have thought that the person riding an electric bike was so arrogant, with a car of more than 2.6 million, and he would buy it. The shopping guide who despised Charlie was even more regretful. Not only did he miss a major customer, missed tens of thousands of commissions, but also lost his job. If he had known this way, he would not look down upon others. Here, when Charlie drove the BMW 760 out, he felt a little impulsive just now. He didn't feel sorry for the money, but the car was too expensive. How could he explain it to Claire? 2,600,000, it can't fall from the sky? After thinking about it, a great idea suddenly popped into his mind. Later, he drove to the roadside car repair shop and spent 20 to ask the boss to replace the BMW 760 logo with a BMW 520. The BMW 5 Series looks very similar to the 7 Series. The difference is mainly internal. It is difficult for most people to distinguish from the outside, mainly by the tail label. The 520 is the lowest in the 5 Series, with average power and control, and average in all aspects. The 760 is the highest in the 7 Series, with extremely strong power, extremely strong control, and strong in all aspects. Charlie drove the 760 with the 520 sign and thought to himself that Claire didn't know much about cars and didn't study the car. He told her that it was a BMW 520, and she probably couldn't recognize it. The owner of the car repair shop slapped his lips, and said to his heart, "This guy looked very honest, but he didn't expect to have such a heart," and deliberately changed the top matching 760 to 520, he must be thinking about pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. After buying the car, Charlie thought that Darren White's restaurant was opening at noon today, and he had to prepare a gift for him. Thinking that Darren was the only classmate who treated him well during college, he drove directly to a large consignment shop of art and literature and bought an early painting by Qing dynasty painter Huang Shen for 200,000. Huang Shen is not too famous, so most people can't recognize his paintings. The reason for buying such an ancient painting is that, on the one hand, he felt that he should give Darren a weighty gift, but on the other hand, he did not want to let others know how much the painting was worth. He thought, if someone asked about it, he would just be fooled by saying that it was a few thousand. It was almost noon after buying the painting. Charlie called his wife Claire and told her he'll pick her up from the Emgrand group along with Elsa. As you can see, Claire discovered that Charlie actually drove a BMW 5 Series. She looked at Charlie dumbfounded, and asked in surprise, "Where did this car come from?" Charlie smiled and said, "I bought it for you." "You bought it?" Claire was even more surprised. "Where did you get the money?" "Private money." Charlie said, "Look, I have been in the Wilson family for so long, and I didn't spend a penny when I got married. These years, I have eaten at the Wilson family, lived in the Wilson family, and used the Wilson family's resources. What's weird about saving some private money?" Claire said, "But you save money and keep it for yourself. Why do you buy such an expensive car? It costs 400,000. Charlie smiled and said, "You are my wife. If I don't use my personal money for you, whom should I use it for? Besides, you are now the director with no car. Everyone will laugh at you." At this time, Elsa also said, "Claire, you really need a business car, this car is quite suitable for you, Charlie has you in his heart, you should be happy. Claire nodded and said very moved, Charlie, thank you. Charlie shook his hand gently, and said with a smile, why are you so polite with your husband? After speaking, he greeted the two and said, let's go directly to Darren's hotel. Claire hurriedly asked, did you buy him a gift? I bought it. Charlie said, I bought him a painting. Painting? Claire asked curiously, what kind of painting? Charlie said, it's the kind of ancient paintings sold on Antique Street. I think the painting is a pomegranate, which means more money, more wealth, and more fortune. It's pretty good, so I bought it. Claire asked, how much did you buy it for? Some thousands. Claire nodded and said with a smile, then you might have been cheated. You can't buy any real ancient paintings for a few thousand. Charlie said with a smile, it doesn't matter, it's mainly a kind of heart, courtesy is less affectionate. Claire nodded in agreement, and said, you are right. The main thing is love. Let's go straight to the hotel now. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description, rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.